everyone, I'm Lauren and welcome back to my channel. This is Lauren's Literary Library, where we talk about all things books and my own writing journey, and today I'm going through some more of my writing journey. So in my last writing vlog, my draft to done series that I've been doing, I mentioned about potentially doing a Kickstarter and I'm sure you're aware that there's been no mention of a Kickstarter since, and the idea for that was to do it through sort of March, have it done for April and be able to ship everything out in like the early autumn sort of time. But I realised that I did not have the capacity to actually fulfill a Kickstarter, and I just want to go through a few reasons why, after doing a little bit more research, I decided against doing that. To be able to go into this, I want to do a little bit of background as to why I wanted to do a Kickstarter in the first place. So last October I realised that I could get my current work in progress completed piece of writing, Arcane Connection, published this year in 2025 if I had the funds for all the editing. And part of doing that would be to do a Kickstarter to cover one of the editing rounds, because that was all I needed, just a little bit extra to boost that up, and then I'd be able to get the book out. I was going to do an exclusive hardcover edition of the book where you wouldn't be able to buy a hardcover anywhere else. I was looking at doing foiled hardcovers, a fancy dust jacket, so maybe some sprayed edges, digitally printed edges, that sort of thing. And I was really excited for it, but I realised that I didn't actually need to run the Kickstarter to fund my editing. I had managed to save more than I thought I had before my maternity leave, which meant that I could actually cover these editing costs myself and the cover design costs. And that meant that as much as I would love to do a Kickstarter, just in my phase of life right now, it's not something that is really doable. The first reason why I decided against a Kickstarter was the shipping. So the EU brought in some new regulations at the end of 2024, which means that you have to have some sort of, I think it's GSPR, which was to state the provenance of all items that you're selling into the EU or shipping into the EU, and you need to have a certified representative to say that the paper, for instance, is like of this sort of quality. And it was getting a little bit mind-boggling. The printers that I was going to use did have their own representatives, and you can put a note into the book to say that it falls within their compliance, so it was kind of okay, but it did make me question the ability to do certain add-ons or certain items that I'd got an idea for the rest of the Kickstarter, and I just did not have the time to look into it in the detail that I wanted to. I am currently on maternity leave looking after a small child, and my brain capacity isn't like nowhere near as much as it used to be, so I don't have the time to research and do the writing and get the publishing done. So unfortunately, once I realised I didn't actually need this money to get the book out there, I took a step back and decided that a Kickstarter just isn't for me in this moment. However, I am hoping to do one at some point in the future. I don't know if I will do it to help fund a launch of a book or if it will be for a special edition of a book, but I do really like the idea of it. And yes, whilst I am doing other things, the Kickstarter is in the back of my head, and I'm going to be doing a bit more research into how we'll be able to ship this out. Also, I'm really glad that I decided against doing this Kickstarter with all the crazy tariffs that have come out from the US in the last few weeks. I don't even know how that would affect me if I was shipping. I know that if I was shipping to America and the US of A, that there would be no sort of like additional costs for me, but it would be the cost for the person picking up the book, and that seems a little unfair. But I also don't know what the retaliatory sort of tariffs are or how much that would affect the printers or anything like that. So yeah, I'm kind of glad on that side of things that I also didn't go ahead with this Kickstarter, because it would have been so much more hassle than even what I originally thought back in November. The second reason that I decided to go against this was just trying to understand the best printer for me. I knew that I wouldn't have high amounts of backers because I'm an author that's not really known. It's a different sort of genre from my previous book, so I've not really got any readers. I don't really have any readers from my first book. So I just felt like, as a completely new author who didn't really know what they were doing, that it might be a lot of work for very little gain. My goal would have been for about £750 to cover the editing and also to like get the additional purchasing, so like trying to order in the books that I'd need to then ship out. My hope was that there wouldn't be that many and that it would surpass the £750 goal, so that whatever else came in would cover the costs of the physical products. And because I've not got much wriggle room in terms of finances at the moment, it wasn't something that again seemed very feasible. I think my original estimates were about £2,000 would have been needed to cover boxes to pack things in, bubble wrap, the actual cost of the books, and yeah, it just became something that wasn't really economically viable in my current life, which is why I'm hoping to be able to do it in the future when maybe a few books down the line I have actually stockpiled some money from writing and my books are a bit more widespread than they are now. But yeah, it was just lots of little niggly things that I just couldn't quite get my head around, or the finances that were causing me issues. Every single video I film now has a brief interlude where I check to see if my baby is awake. However, I did find a lot of really good resources for looking into a Kickstarter. The biggest one that I found was a Facebook group called Kickstarter for Authors, I think it's called. I will put the actual name down here when I've been able to research it, because I've forgotten it off the top of my head. And that has been a dearth of knowledge, to be honest. There's the option for you to put a post on that has your campaign in like pre-launch, so people can review it, give any feedback they have on the tiers, the writing that you've done, the goal that you've put up. But there's also so many resources on that Facebook page just telling you like the best ways to start and the sort of like average prices for tiers containing different things, which is where I got my list. And my list is on this little sticky note, so I did go through and sort of like I actually created the campaign and I put the tiers together, but it was as I was getting ready to do sort of like a pre-launch idea, or you get more followers to follow the project before it goes live. That's where I stopped and thought about what I was doing and if I would actually be able to complete this and to get everything out when it needed to be done, because I am going back to pretty much full-time employment at the end of May, and being full-time employed, having a baby, trying to keep an house in some sort of organisation, which from my desk it doesn't look like it's doing very well at the moment, but my desk is like my dumping space and everything just goes down. So I did actually like put these in, and I had some I had some ideas that I really liked. So one of the tiers was to do a live Q&A at some point with people, and that would have been like the highest backers. I think I was going to limit that to 10, and then you could ask questions about the book itself, just me, my author journey. But then I thought that, again, as someone who's only published one book that has sold maybe 40 to 50 copies, I'm not really someone people might want to talk to at that stage, but again, it's something that I would really like to do. I like the idea behind it. I feel like for me, a Kickstarter is just not something that I am capable of fulfilling at the moment, but I will be looking to do it in the future. If you've ever backed any Kickstarters, let me know in the comments down below. The only one I've ever done is the Brandon Sanderson one, and that was amazing, but again, not at a level where I think anyone would ever back me at. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, and if you want to see more of my videos, don't forget to hit subscribe. There's a new one out almost every single week. I hope you're all well and you're all staying safe, and until next time, bye!